Shit.
Camera! The camera! Give me your camera!
Get off! Get off!
There's a car following me. He's throwing shit at me. I'm on woman.
It starts as a normal drive on Highway 401 in Ontario, Canada. A trucker is heading eastbound through steady traffic. Nothing unusual. No warning signs. Just a long stretch of highway filled with vehicles moving at normal speed. Ahead of him, a fuel tanker is also traveling in the same direction. At first, everything looks stable. Then, in a split second, it changes. The tanker suddenly veers off its lane. There is no gradual drift, no correction attempt, just a sharp, uncontrolled movement toward the highway's center median, and then it hits. The impact is immediate. The tanker slams into the barrier with enough force to rupture its fuel load. Within moments, the situation escalates beyond anything anyone on the road can react to. A massive fireball erupts from the point of impact. Flames explode outward across multiple lanes, expanding rapidly and engulfing a large section of the highway in seconds. One vehicle is seen narrowly escaping through the edge of the expanding flames, passing through a gap that disappears almost instantly after. The trucker filming the dashcam manages to stop just in time, avoiding the fire by only a few meters. What makes this incident so disturbing is how fast it happens. There is no long buildup, no second chance. One moment, it is a normal highway drive. The next, a fully loaded fuel tanker turns into a moving explosion in the middle of traffic. And this is only the beginning. It begins on a freeway in California at night. A family is driving home on the 10 freeway when something unusual appears in the sky. A bright streak of light rises above the horizon. At first, it looks like a rocket launch. The glow is intense enough to immediately pull attention away from the road. Drivers ahead start slowing down. Some people instinctively tap their brakes just to get a better look. For a moment, the freeway becomes distracted. Traffic that should be moving smoothly is now hesitating. That hesitation is where things start to go wrong.
It's a rocket!
No, but the thing is, it broke.
Whoa!
It broke. Ah! Ah! Oh shit. Oh shit, this guy is not paying attention, man.
Low at different speeds, without coordination, and then the situation collapses. Several cars in the left lane fail to brake in time. One after another, they slam into each other, triggering a multi-car pileup in seconds. Metal impacts metal, brakes screech. Traffic suddenly stops in a chain reaction that no one has time to fully process. Inside the chaos, one driver manages to swerve out of the collision path just in time, avoiding impact by inches. Miraculously, no one is seriously injured in the crash. And then the truth comes out. It was not a rocket malfunction. It was a SpaceX Falcon 9 launch carrying satellites into orbit. What drivers saw was not danger, just exhaust gases illuminated by sunlight high in the atmosphere, creating a glowing trail that looked dramatic from the ground. But on the freeway, perception is everything, and a moment of distraction at highway speed is enough to turn curiosity into collision. What makes this case unsettling is how ordinary it begins. Because sometimes the most dangerous thing on the highway is not what is happening in front of you, but what makes you stop paying attention to it. It is a quiet rural road in the middle of the day. A woman is driving alone when she notices something unusual ahead. A group of men dumping trash directly onto the roadside. At first, it looks like a minor environmental violation, something she could ignore and keep driving past. But the truck is partially blocking the road, so she slows down. And then she makes a decision that changes everything. She stops and confronts them. For a moment, there is confusion. The men appear to react as if they are being watched for the first time. The situation feels tense, but not yet dangerous. Then one of them notices something.
Camera! The camera! Give me your camera!
Get off!
Give me
Get
your camera!
off! Get off!
The camera!
Get
Give me your
off!
camera!
Get off!
Hey!
Good for God's sake!
The dash cam. That changes the tone instantly. The group shifts from uncertainty to aggression in seconds. They begin demanding that she hand over the footage. Their focus is no longer the dumping. It is the camera recording them. The situation escalates fast. They move toward her vehicle, shouting, trying to force compliance. Inside the car, the atmosphere changes completely. What started as a simple confrontation becomes a potential entrapment. She realizes she is outnumbered, and more importantly, she is now identified. The camera has turned her from a passerby into a witness, and that makes her a target. Without waiting, she makes a split-second decision. She drives. Hard acceleration breaks the tension instantly. The car pulls away from the scene, leaving the group behind as they attempt to react too late. They do not catch her. She manages to escape before they can reach the vehicle. Later, she reports the incident, and the footage becomes the only proof of what happened on that road. Because in situations like this, the danger is not always what people are doing. It is what they are willing to do once they realize they are being recorded. It happens during the aftermath of Hurricane Ida in 2021. The weather is still unstable, and visibility is almost gone in heavy rain. A trucker is driving through Horsham, Pennsylvania when he approaches a red light. Traffic is slow, the road is wet, and everything feels tense but manageable. Then the storm shifts. A tornado suddenly forms and moves directly across the roadway.
Tomorrow morning. It will then fall below flood stage Friday afternoon. Impact at 9.0 feet. Several driveways and other minor roadways are affected. Water begins to enter some basements. Impact at 10.0 feet. High water isolates several houses. Impact at 12.0 feet. A number of secondary roads are closed, resulting in some evacuation.
There is almost no warning. One moment, it is just rain and wind. The next, the entire scene begins to break apart. Power lines shake violently. Debris starts flying across the road. The truck itself begins to rock under the force of the wind. And then the tornado hits the area directly in front of him. In seconds, the situation becomes uncontrollable. The tractor trailer is lifted and pushed sideways by extreme wind forces. Despite the size and weight of the vehicle, it is no longer stable on the road. The trailer tips over and is flipped onto its side. Inside the cab, the driver is held in place only by his seatbelt as the world outside turns chaotic. The truck is no longer a vehicle. It is just something being moved by the storm. At the same time, a van ahead witnesses the event and immediately pulls over to help once the wind passes. When the tornado moves on, the aftermath is clear. The truck is on its side. The road is littered with debris. The environment has completely changed in under a minute. Miraculously, the driver survives with only minor injuries. But what makes this moment so disturbing is not just the force of nature. It is how fast control disappears. It starts on an ordinary highway in Australia. Two men are driving when a car suddenly appears behind them at high speed. At first, it looks like normal aggressive driving, but it escalates immediately. The car overtakes them and then cuts sharply in front. A brake check follows. Hard. The dashcam vehicle is forced to slow down abruptly to avoid crashing. For a moment, it feels like typical road rage. Annoying, but manageable. Then it gets worse. The same car pulls ahead again and repeats the maneuver, only more aggressively this time. It is no longer about driving. It is about intimidation. The driver ahead is trying to control their speed, their space, and their reaction. Then something changes. The driver in the aggressive car reaches out of the window. He is holding an axe. And now the situation becomes something entirely different. This is no longer a traffic dispute. It is a threat. The attacker begins waving the axe out of the window while continuing to drive erratically, forcing the victims to maintain distance while trying not to lose control themselves. Panic starts to build inside the car. But the dashcam driver makes a decision. He does not stop. He does not engage. He tries to escape. The situation turns into a high-speed attempt to break away from a violent pursuer. At one point, they attempt to lose him by changing direction and taking exits, but the attacker keeps following. The aggression continues through multiple road changes, including a roundabout where things nearly go out of control. Then finally, the situation reaches its breaking point. During a collision attempt, the attacker loses control and spins out, crashing off the road. That single moment gives the victims enough time to escape and drive directly to safety. Police are later able to locate the vehicle and arrest the driver. What makes this case disturbing is not just the weapon. It is how quickly a simple road disagreement transforms into a full pursuit involving an axe, with strangers forced into a life or death escape on an open highway. It begins on a narrow mountain road in Taiwan. A dashcam car is climbing through a steep, winding section when something feels off. The road is quiet, but unstable weather conditions have already made the terrain unpredictable. Then, without warning, the ground begins to shake. A powerful earthquake hits the region. At first, it is just vibration, subtle enough that drivers hesitate, unsure if it is real or just road movement. But within seconds, it becomes undeniable. The mountain starts to move. Small rocks begin falling first, then larger debris follows, and suddenly, the entire hillside above the road begins to collapse. Cars are forced to stop immediately. There is nowhere to go forward, and reversing becomes just as dangerous. A car ahead attempts to back up, trying to escape the falling debris zone. But the movement only exposes them to more risk as rocks begin rolling faster down the slope. Then a massive boulder breaks loose. It crashes into the vehicle in front with brutal force, stopping it instantly. The dashcam driver reacts fast and reverses hard, narrowly escaping the debris path as the rockslide intensifies. For a few seconds, the entire road becomes a moving danger zone, with falling rocks coming from multiple directions. Then, just as quickly as it started, it begins to slow. The main collapse passes. Dust fills the air. The road is partially blocked. Vehicles are frozen in place, trying to understand what just happened. Miraculously, no one is killed in this section of the footage, though the damage to vehicles and infrastructure is severe. But what makes this moment so intense is the helplessness. There is no steering out of it, no acceleration that fixes it. Just a mountain road turning into a falling wall of stone in real time. It happens on a bridge in Ohio. A semi-truck is crossing the 2nd Street Bridge when traffic ahead suddenly changes. A pickup truck swerves into its lane without warning. There is almost no time to react. The impact is immediate. The semi collides with the pickup, and the force of the crash sends the truck off balance. In seconds, everything changes. The semi is no longer fully on the road. It has become stuck halfway over the edge of the bridge. The cab is now hanging over the Ohio River below. The rear wheels remain on the bridge, but the front of the truck is suspended in open air. Inside the cab, the driver is trapped in a position that is no longer stable. Any movement could shift the weight further, and below him is open water. For around 40 minutes, the situation remains frozen like this. Emergency responders arrive quickly, but the rescue is extremely delicate. The truck cannot be pulled suddenly. Any wrong movement could send it completely over the edge. Firefighters carefully coordinate a rescue operation, stabilizing the vehicle before attempting extraction. During this time, the driver remains inside, fully aware of how little is separating him from a fall into the river below. At one point, he reportedly considers escaping on his own, but realizes that unbuckling could destabilize the truck even further. So he waits. Eventually, rescue teams manage to secure the cab and pull him to safety. He is brought out without physical injuries, but the psychological impact is immediate. The realization of how close the situation came to becoming fatal. It is late at night on a dark, empty road. A driver is traveling along a poorly lit stretch when he notices something strange ahead. A car is stopped in the middle of the road with its hazard lights flashing. At first, it looks like a breakdown, so the driver slows down and carefully goes around it. But just a few seconds later, something even more disturbing appears. A man is walking in the middle of the road, pushing a baby stroller, not on the side, not crossing, right in the center of the lane. The scene is completely out of place. There are no streetlights nearby, and visibility is extremely low. The driver slows down immediately, unsure what he is seeing. As he gets closer, the man with the stroller continues moving forward, directly toward the vehicle, step by step, no reaction to the car approaching. The driver begins reversing to create distance, but the man does not stop. Instead, he starts moving faster. Then he begins running toward the car. At that point, the situation becomes impossible to interpret safely. The driver keeps reversing while the man closes distance quickly in the dark. There is no clear explanation for what is happening. No communication, no warning, just a figure in the road pushing a stroller at night, escalating into a direct threat. Eventually, the driver manages to break away and escape the area without contact. The man disappears into the darkness behind him. To this day, there is no confirmed explanation for the behavior. Some speculate it could have been an attempted setup or distraction tactic. Others believe the individual may have been mentally unstable. It is heavy rain on a narrow construction zone highway. Traffic is reduced to 2 tight lanes with barriers on both sides, leaving almost no room for error. A trucker is moving through the lane carefully, maintaining steady speed and poor visibility. Behind him, another truck approaches at higher speed. It begins to overtake, even in these conditions, even in this narrow space. As the passing truck pulls alongside, it hits a deep puddle at full speed. The impact is instant. A massive wave of water explodes outward and completely covers the windshield of the truck being passed. In less than a second, visibility disappears. The driver cannot see the road, the lane markings, or the vehicle next to him. At highway speed, that is critical. Both trucks are now at risk of hydroplaning, floating uncontrollably on a thin layer of water. For a brief moment, everything becomes blind driving. No visibility, no certainty of position, just forward motion in heavy rain. Inside the cab, the driver holds the wheel steady, trying not to overcorrect. Any sudden movement could send the truck into the barrier or into the other vehicle. Somehow, both trucks remain stable long enough to regain traction. Gradually, visibility returns. The water clears from the windshield. The overtaking truck moves ahead, and both vehicles continue without a collision. But the situation could have ended very differently. A fraction of a second difference in steering or speed would have caused both trucks to lose control inside a confined construction zone.